What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. We have a special one for you guys tonight. It is the trade deadline day in the NBA. We got a lot to cover. There's been a ton of news all week. We're going to kind of go in chronological order here, starting with the Kyrie Irving Dallas Mavericks trade. But let's welcome in our guest, John Drake. How are we doing, guys?
Doing well.
And Drake, what's up? What's going on, man?
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here, and he's got the Spider jersey on.
Happy to be here. Trade deadline day. Got the Spider on.
He's got the Spider on, and Cleveland didn't make any moves. We were speculating maybe last week that they might be involved in some things, but nonetheless, let's just get right into it. The Kyrie said he wanted out. He gets out. He goes to the Dallas Mavericks. Brooklyn Nets get Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, first-round pick in 2029, and 2 second-round picks. I'm going to throw it to John right away. What is your take from this pretty big trade here between the two teams?
Yeah. Well, I also watched Kyrie Irving play last night for the Mavericks against pretty much a fully healthy pre-trade deadline Clippers. And the Mavericks won that game. Kyrie looked pretty good. I mean, just a pure basketball take. I feel like I'm kind of confused how it works, and I'm not sure if Kyrie sticks around for more than 3, 4, or 5 months until they're eliminated. Like, you know, you might be renting him for half a year essentially. But I think the offense is going to be great, and I think the defense is going to be really bad. I'll put it in a really succinct nutshell. I think they're going to score a lot, but they're going to give up a lot of points too. And for fantasy, I think this maybe hurts Doncic just a touch, and maybe hurts Kyrie just a touch. But overall, they both should be pretty good. I don't think it should affect. I honestly don't expect it to affect either of them too much because they should have the ball a lot. There's really no one else on that roster who needs the ball. So,
and then I guess fantasy aside, well, Drake, you have a cat named after Kyrie, yes? So we're big Kyrie fans. What does fantasy?
I do. Over Kyrie, I had multiple Kyrie Irving Cleveland jerseys that I can't wear anymore. But Kyrie, when it comes to basketball, he's not the same person and not on the same level, but it kind of compares a lot to our boy Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's got different takes. Some people don't like that. He kind of used the Pat Mack phrase. I want to be not just tolerated. I want to be celebrated for what I'm doing. A guy of his, level, I respect that. A lot of stuff Kyrie says I don't respect, but when it comes to basketball, he's an amazing basketball player. It just depends what you're going to get. I can't speculate on where Kyrie stays or goes. If it goes well with the Mavs, I watched that game last night as well, John. Kyrie had this awesome floater right over Kawhi.
And he started off he started so hot.
Mm-hmm. So he's an amazing basketball player, and if he's happy where he's at, then I think that's the key. How do we make Kyrie happy? Because, in Cleveland, he was happy when it was just him. Won Rookie of the Year. And then LeBron comes, and Kyrie's not happy about that. So, and then we can go down the list. Everyone's heard it. Fantasy-wise, though, the Mavericks, Bullock is going to he's their only defender on wings. He's the guy. So he's going to play a lot. Maybe shots go down, but maybe fantasy points go up. Mm-hmm. Maybe we get more rebounds. Maybe we get, more of that dirty stuff. They're not deep on the defensive end. You really don't. I mean, you have McGee and Christian Wood. McGee was a good pickup last week. He was playing a lot. They'll probably dangle in that, like I was telling Kyle earlier, and you as well, John. The Cavs are probably going to dangle in that buyout market, and guys are going to start getting cut and that kind of stuff. So this team's probably a couple front court backups away. I don't know, but
the Mavs
if Luka and Kyrie start going off on you in a playoff game, what do you do?
What was that, John?
No, I think Drake made a good point. This is a team that you could expect to be active in the buyout market. I wouldn't be shocked if like Drake said, there's a lack of depth here, which I totally agree with. If they could bring someone in who could just take a couple more shots, it could play almost any position. They could use a little help at almost any position, honestly, especially wing and some sort of useful big guy. I mean, I think they can play Christian Wood, they can play JaVale McGee, they can play Powell, but I think they're still kind of searching for someone to be a permanent starter in that situation. So.
Yeah, they definitely need some more help at the 3 position, I think.
This team could use a George Hill.
Sure. Yeah, a veteran.
Yes.
Veteran to because I mean, when Luka's healthy, you're probably going to push Josh Green off the bench here, and you're going to have Luka, Kyrie, and then one of their centers starting, whether that's Powell, whether that's Wood. Bullock's locked in there, and so is Hardaway. So then off the bench, you're looking at, again, Wood, McGee, Josh Green, and they're probably still 1 or 2 guys short. So they didn't make any other moves, did they? This afternoon, I think they're waiting for the buyout market.
I don't remember them making another move, but they might be involved. There's a lot of moves today.
So I guess fantasy aside, the Mavs are currently sitting in the 4 spot here. It's really tightly packed. I mean, you could be the 4 seed one night and then wake up the 8th seed the next night here. So for real life basketball, does this like the Mavs were in the Western Conference Finals last year, right? Are they better than they were last year? Drake, how are we feeling about the Mavs' chance to improve upon what they've already done this season?
I think the Mavs have an excellent chance, and listening to sports talk since Sunday, I think I'm in the minority, but Kyrie Irving's a better basketball player than Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a debate. It depends if Kyrie wants to play or show up, or if he's got some concert to go to or something. I don't know. But like Kyrie Irving and Luka makes sense to me. They can both score, but Kyrie loves to facilitate as well. I think it probably works. Honestly, it should work. Both players, Kyrie kind of brings in that experience role now for Luka. Not that Luka hasn't been playing professional basketball forever, but he brings in that playoff experience, and that kind of killer mindset. Kyrie's not gonna not take a shot on you. So I like the move. I think it's a better Mavericks team.
What do you got there, John?
I think it's interesting that the Mavericks, the Suns, and the Clippers all were very aggressive in the past week, or since the Irving trade, essentially upgrading significantly, all in a little bit of different ways. But we'll get to all 3 of them. Well, we'll get to the Suns and the Clippers soon enough.
I guess before we move on, I just want to say I'm excited about what this can do for the Mavericks, because thinking about how you defend this team, like just the attention Luka draws by himself, you can't forget about Kyrie Irving. So like there's going to be they're going to be cheating on Luka and Kyrie, and that's going to open things up for a Hardaway or for one of their middle guys. They're going to need
the middle guys to step up, and I think they'll add more middle guys.
Yeah, for sure.
This team could add a Pat Bev.
And then it's a matter of hitting your shots. I think Reggie Jackson was also a guy that's going to get released and bought out. So like they're probably going to bring in somebody that can command the 2 offense for them. And I don't know how you're going to, like, if Kyrie's hot, great. If not, you got Luka. If Luka's hot, great. If not, you got Kyrie. Like it's going to be a pick your poison kind of thing. And if both of those guys are on, like good luck. It's gonna be good TV to say the least, and we'll see.
Talent's there. I mean, it was good TV without Luka last night. I enjoyed that game. Did you, John?
I did too. I really liked it. It's a lot of healthy outside of Luka, a lot of healthy stars.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun. I think we did a good job covering that one. Let's move on. We're just gonna keep scrolling up here. You guys want to talk about Dwayne Dedmon going to the Heat? Just kidding.
I think the last time he played for the Heat, he punched a massager that was behind the bench, and he hasn't played since like January 3rd or something like that.
Okay. Oh, so he's going to San Antonio.
He's going to San Antonio. Yeah,
I think San Antonio waived him. I think they already cut him.
This was
Pop's having none of that.
this was a cash move. It looks like.
Yeah.
Anything on Kessler Edwards going to Sacramento? Good for Sacramento. They get a little bit extra depth at the 3-4 spot. That's kind of whatever. But then we get to the doozy here. This was the one that was, I think, on Tuesday. It was kind of speculated and then finalized on Tuesday night. Lakers getting D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. The T-Wolves getting Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and some second-round picks. And the Utah Jazz getting Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano Anderson, and Damian Jones. John, break it down.
Yeah, well, I think the Lakers significantly upgraded some of their biggest weaknesses. First and foremost, they're the worst. They have the worst 3-point shooting of the entire league. You know, they're 30th out of 30, and so they added Michael Beasley, who's an incredible, or not Michael Beasley, Malik Beasley, excuse me, but he's a high volume and high percentage 3-point shooter. And he from a fantasy perspective, expect him to just take a lot of shots. I'm not sure if he's going to provide you much other stat categories, but sometimes high volume threes is all you need. And he does shoot a good percentage for category leagues. And Jared Vanderbilt, I think, provides them a little bit of size, a little bit of defense, something I think that there was their second biggest weakness, their defense. So I think Vanderbilt gives them a little extra juice on defense. I think Beasley gives them a lot of juice from 3-pointing. And then obviously, D'Angelo Russell is the prize. I don't know, Drake, what do you think D'Lo adds to the Lakers?
So I'm gonna eat crow here on live. I was chatting like the last 2 weeks and I said the only guarantee is that the Lakers sell the future and mess up this trade deadline. They did the exact opposite. Like the Lakers killed this trade deadline and they put a team around LeBron. So we go back, D'Angelo Russell on here makes so much sense. 3-point shooting, distributing, but also plays off the ball. Because we know LeBron's bringing that up. Look at those. He's small forward, point guard, power forward. You can probably put center in there too. Amazing find. It's hilarious that the Lakers traded this guy already, but he comes back. The perfect fit for him. And if you guys watch any T-Wolves games, he didn't fit there anymore. Not with Ant, not with KAT. So I thought it was a good move for both teams. I think maybe the Timberwolves got a little less, but they had to move Russell. Wasn't working anymore. Nickeil Alexander is a great player for them as well as Conley. And then you hit on Beasley with the threes. I want to hit on Mo Bamba, but I can't because Kyle needs a hit on Mo Bamba.
We'll get to him later because he was part of a deal that happened after this trade.
So same trade. If you guys want to go multi-teams, I think the Timberwolves getting Conley is underrated. Mm-hmm. I think Conley playing with Gobert again is huge. Sure. I mean, they're kind of pulling the Denver Broncos here and doubling down. It's going to be what it's going to be. But I think that helps them a lot. You don't have a guy that's looking to score. You have guys looking to distribute, and you already have Ant and KAT. Do you need more scoring? And they also needed to make Gobert an offensive piece somehow. Yeah, needed to be back to his prime Utah days. Because I've seen this team pull him with like a minute 30 left in games. Mm-hmm. And they gave up a lot for him. So I love the trade. I'm a little higher on it from the T-Wolves perspective because I think Mike Conley, if healthy, is a perfect fit there. I think he brings that veteran but not Jimmy Butler veteran-esque to the team. And then the Jazz, they're Danny Ainge in this, and I love it. They're taking on Russell Westbrook. Westbrook hasn't even left LA. He's just moving locker rooms. Same stadium.
This is like a kind of like a sell some tickets move, I think, for the Jazz. They're just trying to kind of stir things up and get a little bit more excitement as they look to close out the year. But good points on the Timberwolves. I totally forgot Conley and Gobert, the connection that they've had forever. That might actually make the Timberwolves better.
I think it does, honestly, in the short term. And you're not Russell's contract's up this year. You're gonna have to pay Ant. Russell's not the guy there anymore,
And
which is unfortunate because he wanted to be. But back in LA, I think everyone wins in this trade.
I agree. And like the Wolves are above 500 and they've missed Karl Anthony Towns for like what 80% of the year so far.
Yeah, 3 months.
So they're going to get like they could potentially sneak over that dotted line here at some point, and maybe things just get a little bit more balanced and a little bit more. I don't know, just everybody kind of eats kind of thing. And then I mean, I think the best thing about the Lakers is kind of I don't remember which one of you said it, but they did not sacrifice the future. This is a team that can compete for a few years here. Like this is something that could look really fun. And for them to get out of the basement here in the West, probably very likely. They're probably still a play-in team, but guess what? They're only 3.5, 4 games behind the 6th seed here, so they could totally play some different. And
they play the Clippers multiple times.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to get these matchups in the second half that are favorable, like not favorable, but it's win now. And
then, John, what does Mo Bamba do for this team?
Well, I just thinking to myself, Drake said everybody wins in the trade, and I do agree, but I feel like the Lakers win so much more, and I'm wondering like why are these teams helping the Lakers? It feels like they're helping them a little bit because Westbrook's not going to play, so they're not going to get any value out of that piece. Conley, while he is, I think, a really good fit, and totally agree with everything Drake said, it's just like I feel like the Wolves downgrade in a talent perspective in this trade, which is never something you want to do. And so I'm frustrated. The league it feels like the league's helping the Lakers. Like sometimes LeBron seems to get like these great benefit of the doubt trades, but outside of that, I don't have anything else to say about the trade. I wanted to answer your question about Bamba. I think Lakers, they got rid of Thomas Bryant, who is one of their key centers, key big men, and they brought in Bamba. They also brought in Rui a couple weeks ago. Now we just talked about Jared Vanderbilt. They've kind of remade their front line around Anthony Davis. I want to see what it looks like. I like Vanderbilt more than Bamba personally, like right now to help you win games. But I think Bamba is just a perfect, nice tool in the toolbox. He's very long, very lanky. He can shoot a little bit. So theoretically, guys like LeBron and Schroeder can set him up for good opportunities, and D'Lo now too. And he can just give you a change of pace on defense to help you, hey, okay, now we have to shoot over this guy if we go into the paint, when Anthony Davis is out. So I think they've helped themselves across the board. I like every move they've made, either a little or almost a lot. So I think the Lakers are one of the 4 teams out west that have significantly upgraded after the trade deadline.
I would say that they're the most improved team after the trade deadline, and just look at their top 10 players here.
Come on, the Suns.
My only counterpoint is Durant.
No.
My only counterpoint is Durant.
The Lakers were just so far down.
Yeah.
For the Suns,
you're right.
Have a couple more spots to move up.
The Lakers have made multiple moves to make this work, and I'm just picturing a lineup when they're up by 4, where they can roll out LeBron as your point guard, Anthony Davis, Rui, throw
D'Lo,
Bamba in there if you want, or Vanderbilt.
Russell.
And then D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, if you want to go big, you got Bamba or Vanderbilt. If you want to go shooter, you go Beasley, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
They can roll out some fun lineups with this group. Yeah. They have a lot of work to do, but it's only 4 games, 5 games, 6 games.
I think Kyle just said 4 games out of the 5 seed, right?
Yeah.
So for me,
the Lakers won this whole thing. I give their front office. Maybe it was LeBron. I don't know. Maybe him and Bronny were making trades on 2K, seeing how they felt. I have no idea, but they killed this because they're a whole different team.
For me, it's easy to say that they were the most improved because now, in our heads, we're probably putting the Lakers up here in this 4, 5, 6 category.
The Lakers should be better than the Kings this season.
Sure. And as far as the Suns,
they're gonna pass the Grizzlies because the Grizz are The Grizzlies are falling.
You add a top 3 player to an already contender team. You always that is the recipe for championships, right? I mean
look at that team.
The Suns are the only team that changed their course so significantly to not only contender, but they're like prime contender. Or
Nuggets
they're
did
1B
nothing.
to the Celtics, perhaps, but they're a prime contender now.
The Nuggets did nothing. They traded away Bones. That made no sense.
The Nuggets did not, lateral for the Nuggets.
Yeah, like
Well,
the Celtics lateraled with Muscala, and the Bucks
Mike
went
Muscala.
and the Bucks.
You're gonna get a Mike
lateraled
Muscala corner 3 in the playoffs, maybe.
And the Grizzlies did nothing really.
Grizzlies did nothing, and the Grizzlies have been ass.
So the Suns have now, I think, jumped everyone besides maybe the Celtics and maybe the Bucks, and maybe
they jumped them. They jumped them in talent.
So I think the Suns have vaulted everyone in their conference.
You have Kevin Durant. You have Chris Paul, who's older now, but look at Chris Paul's last 10 games.
They didn't
People
have to
are trying to steal this narrative that he's done. He's been great. Booker comes back, and now you have fucking Kevin Durant. Sorry, you have Kevin Durant on this team,
and they didn't have to give up Ayton.
They kept Ayton.
It's a huge.
And Saric, right? Saric is still there.
I think Saric is gone through a trade today, but the Suns changed a lot today. The Suns changed a lot.
The Suns are going to bring back Tyson Chandler.
He's 40, man.
Let's wrap up here. You guys have any other final thoughts on this Lakers 3-way trade? Otherwise, we'll
Did we not talk about Damian Jones enough? Is that not?
We mentioned his name, so that works.
Let's keep moving. Danny Ainge loves first-round picks.
Just Cam Reddish.
No fantasy impact.
Nick sending
maybe.
Users.
Trailblazers with Cam. Let him run.
Yeah, they got nothing else.
That team. Why were they so adamant on not trading Dame? Teams.
Maybe he didn't want to leave. I'm not quite sure. But Josh Hart, Cam Reddish, exchanging places in that offense.
Pick next year. That's pretty good. Lottery protected. Knicks won't be in the lottery.
Raptors getting Jakob Poeltl from the Spurs. This one's interesting.
Why is it interesting?
I don't know why they do it. Why does this have to be done? That's why it's interesting.
It doesn't make any sense why the Raptors went out and got.
Poeltl's worth talking about. He's like a 30+ fantasy point a night guy.
He's like Mason Plumlee to me.
But he's on the Raptors. So
Poeltl goes back to the team that drafted him. Raptors drafted him. Poeltl was involved in the Kawhi trade, if you can believe it.
I know that, John.
Well, I'm just for our beautiful audience that we know and love, Drake. I know you know everything, everything important at least. But I think it's interesting to see Poeltl back with the Raptors. Raptors were playing Precious Achiuwa, who I think is okay and who I own in fantasy at center for a large percentage of their recent games. But I think Poeltl's about to jump in at, kind of hold down the center spot there and get big minutes. I'm not necessarily sure what the hell
Raptors are making
doing.
The Raptors are making the play
they're putting together a bunch of young pieces that I think
they
think will be good. I'm not sure if it will turn out. It doesn't seem like it's going to be anything this year, but going forward, it could be interesting.
It's kind of something that just locks them into the playing tournament, and I'm fine.
I think they solidified that.
Yeah, so that looks good here. And now we get to the creme de la creme here. The Suns acquiring one Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. We'll throw in him there. And then you got the Brooklyn Nets getting McCall Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Jay Crowder, who they moved to the Bucks. Bunch of first-round picks in 2028 pick swap. John, what does this mean for the rest of the NBA?
I've already pontificated on it a little bit. I think the Suns they took the biggest leap of any team because they went from contender status only up one tier to top contender status. But that jump, even though it's just one level up, is the biggest jump a team can make. And really, there's only one or two ways to do it. And one of the simplest one is add a top 3 player in the league. So the Suns added Kevin Durant to an incredible team already. We've talked about it a little bit. But I think they're lacking a little bit of depth now, but I think for fantasy purposes, like if it's Torrey Craig, if it's Damian Lee, I'd be interested. If is it TJ Warren, I'd be interested who the fifth guy is. It Saban Lee? Like
Shaman's coming back. Shaman's coming back, and so is Campaign.
Yeah, who is playing with these guys?
Those guys are coming back, though. That's huge.
Yeah, somebody's going to play. Is it Okogie? Somebody's going to play a lot of minutes with these guys as the fifth guy and the sixth guy, even the first guy off the bench, right? So from a fantasy perspective, I'd be interested to see who that is, and you got to monitor it. But their top four is the best top four in the league, and I don't really know if anyone else is in the conversation. And there's some great big threes. There's some really incredible top dynamic duos, big twos, but they have the best big four in the league, and I think it's going to be really hard to beat them in 7-game series.
My first thought when the trade happened is I would love this is a perfect script for a Bucks Phoenix Suns rematch. Because you're adding Kevin Durant, who the Bucks had to get over that hurdle to get to that championship, and now it's just all put together for them. So, Drake, what did you have for thoughts here on Phoenix? I'm going to step out real quick. I'll be right back.
Just talking about the kind of lower guys with Phoenix. Campaign has been out for a while. He's coming back. Landry Shamet has been out, and we've all seen what Landry can do in fantasy. He's coming back. We've all played both those guys in fantasy. And then you have Dario, Dario in there with Kevin Durant feeding him the ball from the post. I mean, it's endless here. I know you kind of thought that there was some lack of depth. I think there's a lack of big name depth, but I think they'll be able to run this.
Saric was moved to the Thunder for Darius Baisley.
Baisley is a great piece. So that's same.
Baisley is a guy to keep an eye on.
Yeah. So Baisley comes in and he's going to start. He's going to be that 6 or 7 guy. I think they got multiple 6 or 7 guys. So
can TJ Warren recreate his bubble magic?
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to anymore. He has to be what he was early on with the Nets, like this year. Like come in, play some games, hit some shots, but.
What
we saw from TJ Warren, I'm not sure how many drug tests there were done, but maybe there should have been more because we've never seen it again. But it was special. I mean, that run was great, but he doesn't have to do that. Like this roster is Biombo. He didn't get moved.
I think this team is deeper than we realize.
It is. That's what I was hitting on, Kyle, when you were gone. I was hitting on this is a lot deeper than we think.
You got Cameron Payne here, Landry Shamet.
Both those guys are coming back within the month.
Yeah. And then you guys talked about Basley. I heard that. Okogie's been a flash for them at some time.
Okogie would be a really good fifth wheel with their big four. I feel like
you just don't want a guy named Jock Landale playing. Mm-hmm. So in the playoffs, Jock is doing something else.
That's like Jock Landale.
In the jumpers.
That's such a G League name.
Put some respect on Jack Logdale.
Where did they find him?
He's not bad, and if he's playing 10 minutes while Ayton, has a banana and a Gatorade on the bench, I think they'll be okay in the playoffs.
So I think this team is good for a buyout center because
they could definitely use a little more.
Everyone's flocking to this team right now. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Ayton's just chilling there, ready to play defense. Like every team, like every buyout player wants to be on this team, right?
Yes.
Well, and I would say
he's doing what LeBron did a few years ago.
Keep in mind, so Devin Booker's
got to pick the right guys.
Devin Booker had been out for the last month or so. Mm-hmm. So the fact that the Suns were still getting better and healthy, they're 8-2 their last 10 games. They were just.
You bring up Chris Paul's stats.
Yep.
Because there's been this talk of his decline, and I really don't think there's decline anymore.
More so in the scoring, especially these last 5 games. It looks
but he's still getting the assists, still getting the steals.
It's been
2 blocks.
It's been Ayton's. Ayton's been picking up the scoring department lately, the last few nights for them. But the assists.
But against San Antonio, I mean.
Yeah, he had one bad game.
Right. Chris Paul didn't go away.
in 9 minutes tonight, they're playing right now. It looks like
he's
in
got
9
12 and
minutes,
a
he's
half
got
points.
12 and a half points.
Yeah.
He's doing everything. And especially with the added pressure that KD removes, Chris Paul can rest. I mean, he could play 25 minutes a game in the playoffs, which would be, or 30 minutes a game, just like not play a total full game.
Chris Paul doesn't have to play another regular season game.
Yeah, honestly.
He can sit up in the box. They'll get him a hot tub or a cryo table or something, and he'll just do that.
He needs to play like 2 games just so him and Durant have a
before. But he'll
chemistry.
learn pretty easily. I can just like whip this ball to either Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. Like, how do you defend this team?
You pray to God.
Yeah, you pray to God. You're like, I really hope my 5th best player steps up as a defender tonight.
The Clippers could potentially defend this team because they have the 2 wings. They have the 2 wings that you can deploy against Booker and Durant. But no one else. But no one else.
Then how do you defend the middle? How do you defend the middle?
Well,
once you're defending that, then you're just passing into Ayton and he's eating you up. We're forgetting that Ayton is a really good offensive player.
That great.
Ayton is a really good offensive center.
I think there's one team in the East that matches up well with this Suns team.
Who is it?
You're gonna say the freaking Bucks, aren't you?
Because it's true. Milwaukee.
Kyle.
How is it not? How does it not? You have Drew Holiday with Chris Paul. You can put Middleton on Booker. Giannis with KD.
You guys had to double Booker last time. Now you added KD.
That's fine, but as far as one-on-one assignments, that is
you can one-on-one it, but
Giannis has owned Kevin Durant the last I checked.
Giannis on KD is fine.
So, but still,
Chris Paul and Giroux, it worked in the past, but now we're looking at Ayton and Brook one-on-one for a whole game.
I'm fine with that. That's the least of my worries. That's the least of our worries.
Then you're trying to crash Giannis, and KD's moving, and you are correct. I don't think there's a better team to match up with them, but it's tough.
Well, it's gonna come down to shooting. Can Booker outscore Middleton? Can Giannis shut down Kevin Durant? I think Paul and Drew Holiday kind of cancel each other out. They both run the offense and play good D. And then I feel like the centers are kind of canceling each other out too. So it's those matchups.
Doc Lundell comes in though.
Don't get me started on
Bobby Portis would smash.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring in. And Bobby Portis is actually the missing link into that because he's potentially that 5th guy.
Jay Crowder too.
Who are your backup guards that are coming in when Campaign and Shamet?
Javon Carter, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton.
Grayson Allen hasn't played defense since middle school.
But Allen is fine in a pinch.
Unless he's tripping someone, he's not playing defense.
He's fine in a pinch. He'll be okay.
But either way,
that's a fun matchup, though.
That's what instantly my mind went to when the trade came through, and I just thought the layer of like that season that the Bucks had to get through. They had to take down the Nets, and it felt like if they could get through there, then things were kind of brighter on the horizons. And then,
Giannis defending, Giannis defense was a big reason the Suns lost, and now Giannis has to just be focused on KD.
No, Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder, yeah, I was just gonna say it's
Crowder hasn't played.
Drew Holiday would guard a lot of KD, and Chris Middleton.
Drew Holiday on KD. KD loves
Middleton,
Drew Holiday.
Nobody guarded KD more than Chris Middleton when they met in the playoffs on the Bucks championship run. Middleton guarded KD more than anybody, and Drew guarded him a lot.
Look at this finals matchup. Who guarded who?
Well, I think there was a lot of changing going on.
There was. You don't get to do changing anymore. And there wasn't blowout games. You guys are underrating DeAndre Ayton's ability over Brook Lopez.
I think Brook Lopez has already handled DeAndre Ayton.
No, DeAndre Ayton with these matchups. You don't have Giannis crashing anymore.
I think Giannis continues to play free safety, and you put
then
him on
KD is going to eat you alive.
But it's more than just
mid-range.
We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. That's what we did with the
Bobby
Nets.
Portis versus 8 and 2. Like, he's going to be a guy that rotates in there too. So you have two guys to throw at him. And I would argue that Portis is a better fifth than any of the Suns' fifths. So it does give them potential to have a really. It's a fun series. We could debate it for hours.
Let's have mad chemistry, bro.
I'm going 1v2 here.
It was a losing game coming from two Bucks fans. It's something to dream about. I'm hoping they play another game or two yet, and we can get everybody to play. Nobody's scratched.
Do they play again this year?
I would hope so. I do want to pivot and just, if you guys, while I'm looking for this, John, what the hell's going on with the Brooklyn Nets? What's their future look like?
Well, the Nets are in a tough situation. I mean, they got 0 championships. They got 0 Eastern Conference Finals appearances. They got really almost nothing meaningful out of, Durant, Kyrie, and Harden. So they're left with Ben Simmons and like 8 picks. I think 4 firsts and 4 seconds.
Why are you talking down on Mikal Bridges? Mikal Bridges is an amazing player.
Okay, they got Mikal Bridges,
part of this team,
who I like. I like pieces the Nets have. I think they went from a contender to a nothing, a rebuilding team very quickly. They're missing superstars. They have everything else. Actually, they have a lot of nice pieces. Wings in this league are few and far between sometimes on some rosters. And the Nets have 6 or 7 useful wings. They have Mikal Bridges, you just said. They've got Dorian Finney-Smith, who's absolutely excellent, who is the Mavs' best defensive player, which is why one of the big reasons why I'm very concerned about the Mavs' defense. I think they'll score well, but I think they're going to give up so many points. Cam Johnson was excellent when he was healthy for the Suns. Royce O'Neal has had good games and can play a lot of minutes. He's had good games for the Jazz. He's had good games for the Nets. And Ben Simmons is terrible. But he's a wing as well. I mean, what is Ben Simmons? Is he a point guard? Is he a wing? Is he a center? He's a bench warmer. That's what he actually is. So.
Ben Simmons should go model for Gucci once his contract runs out.
He should, yeah.
There was nobody in the NBA that was interested in trading for him today.
No, not at all.
Like, he's the biggest joke.
He's on a big contract. He's the worst contract in the league, I think, personally.
He's the worst contract in the league, and he sucks. I mean, give me Torrey Craig.
Yeah, dude.
No, I want to hit on the Nets. The Mikal Bridges thing, I think Mikal Bridges, just from what I've seen of the Suns games with the other guys out, I think he's like one of the next league superstars, to be honest. I think he's taking off on this team. And it took a little convincing from Kyle, honestly, because I was like, wow, they're blowing this up, but I thought they were going to completely blow it up. But now I think they made the right move. You have Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie was with the Nets when they were finally coming up. I think they made the playoffs with Dinwiddie as their guy. So he's a big Nets guy, and I think they have a decent little nucleus. They have no superstar. They're not going anywhere, but I also don't think they're an easy out, and I think they have a good future. Like, I think they did, they traded 3 superstars. We can't forget that, but they did the best they could while actually they retained actual talent plus draft capital. The draft capital isn't as fun, but they weren't just trading it for, okay, maybe we'll get this pick because we have the lottery and maybe we get that. Mikal Bridges is a dude.
Brooklyn's going to fall.
Thompson is a dude.
Like he is the guy that they can build on.
Yeah. And then they got Cam Johnson, who last year was one of the most prized trade pieces, and the Suns wouldn't do it. So they got some guys. They need to get Ben Simmons over to Kohl's or something so he can start his modeling career.
It's funny you say that because when you said Gucci, I'm like, it's more of a Kohl's guy in my head.
Yeah. I started with Gucci, and then I was like, no, he needs to be in Kohl's. He might work there a little too. He stocks the back.
Customer service. But anyways, like considering like the Nets again, you touched on it. You hit it really well, Drake, and this is why I'm totally cool with this. If you're gonna blow up a team and trade away Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and this is what you're left with, this is workable. Like this is a team that's still gonna make the playoffs. Sure, they might be a play-in team, but they're not going to be a tough out, or I guess they're going to be tough out. Any way you put it, and like when that second unit comes in, like their second unit's going to be better than most teams' second unit. So there's going to be like an interesting even flow with their games. And then, holy shit, Cam Thomas, like what is going on? Dude's just putting up some of the massive fantasy points here. 3 straight games over 50 points, 3 straight games over real 40 points. So 43, 47, 44. They're playing right now. He's got 0 points in 11 minutes. So go figure. But this is the guy that is going to get a ton of playtime going forward. And essentially Brooklyn gets to kind of evaluate these guys and see who's going to stick around with Bridges going forward. Ton of pieces, tons of wings. And where we could find so many, like maybe 80% of the teams in the NBA need more wings.
Yeah. They're building this team like the Clippers.
Yeah. It's going to be long.
They're wing heavy and have that Claxton guy in the middle, same as Zubac, just they're going wing heavy, which it seems it works. They got to get rid of Ben Simmons, obviously.
Yeah. But again, this is a team that will have maybe a brighter outlook going into the season next year. Depends on some of the offseason moves and any draft stuff that goes on. But they're still going to be competitive. They're going to probably make the playoffs. And congrats, I guess, Mikal Bridges. You guys get a new guy to build around. I think he's an East Coast guy, too. I thought he went to Villanova. He's kind of – it seemed like he was kind of
Virginia. He went to Virginia.
I thought he was – are you sure? I swear Villanova. Let me see. Mikal Bridges. Where are we? Villanova Wildcats. So 2018.
Yeah.
But so East Coast guy, I like it. We'll move on to what's next here. You guys, Muscala and Justin Jackson. Cool. You mentioned.
I will say I got really excited when I saw Jay Jackson pop up on my watch traded. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then it was Justin Jackson from the Thunder.
So the Nuggets get Thomas Bryant, which is it's a decent get just for depth. They didn't really need a lot, but it does add a player for the rotation, so that's cool. Anything on this one, or is this just kind of?
I thought Jalen McDaniels was a good grab.
Yeah, let's look at.
I thought that was a good move by the Sixers, a quiet one. I think the Sixers are a hard matchup for the Suns, to be honest.
So just another a good depth piece here for Philly. Let's take a look at Philly's. I want to look at Philly's roster and talk about a team that's going to. They're one of the few teams in the East that does have the ability to get to the finals. And if they were to match up with the Suns, like what does this look like here, John?
Well, I mean, they're really balanced, right? They have a really good, 2010 point guard, 20 points, 10 assists. They have another, couple guards on the roster that can come in and help a lot. Tobias Harris was a pretty solid, wing piece. And to Drake's point, they just added Jalen McDaniels, who I think is especially – from the wing where they don't have maybe as much offense. Now they've added a guy who can score a little better than Matisse Thybulle, who, while Thybulle is a defensive player,
Thybulle was actually traded, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah. They lost Thybulle, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they basically replaced Thybulle with McDaniels. I think they get a little better on offense, which they probably need, especially from the wing. Matching up with like an elite team like the Suns, the Celtics, the Bucks, the Nuggets, I think the Sixers fall a little short in those situations.
Depends on an Embiid blowout.
They don't necessarily have I think Tucker is a good defender, but I just don't know. Can he continue to hold up? He's so old. They just don't have that wing defense. Who's going to play KD? Who's going to play Giannis? Who's going to play Tatum? I think obviously they're going to throw Tucker on them, but how long can you hold on?
McDaniels is a good offensive or defense player, though.
He's solid, yeah.
Harrell's a good playoff piece. I think it all depends on Embiid. Like, if Embiid just starts going off, we've seen what that does. He,
Embiid is their trump card for sure.
took the Raptors to where they were at. But, yeah, Tobias Harris is older now, but Tobias in the playoffs usually seems to come around. So,
Yeah,
I don't sleep on the Sixers. I don't want to, sleep on that team. Maxey, Milton, all guys.
yeah.
Cavs are better, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
John, can you break this down for us? The Bucks sending a ton of second-round picks to acquire Jay Crowder. Just a nice defensive piece for the team while they've been kind of nursing some injuries and things like that. We'll see if Jay Crowder can get into the mix and into the minutes here. But what does this do for the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, 8 assets for 1. So, I mean, while nothing the Bucks gave up was significantly valuable, they still, just by volume, obviously really were interested in Crowder. I think, Crowder fills a really good hole for them, a team where Grayson Allen was playing currently, over the past 30 days or whatever, playing like 30 minutes or more a game. I think Crowder comes in and immediately siphons a bunch of those minutes away from Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen now turns into more of like a 15 to 20 minute a game guy, which I think is optimal for Grayson Allen. And then you have Crowder and then Pat Connaughton. You have like basically Crowder / Connaughton / Matthews getting like all your backup 2, 3, and 4 minutes. And one of those guys, probably Crowder, but certainly Connaughton too, can start and any given time can start games. And should I mention, we also have Joe Ingles. So it's like a really, really deep bench for the wing, which the Bucks haven't had in a while. They still have retained some really good depth at the guard with, I think Drew Holiday is a great head of the snake. And now you can play guys like Grayson Allen, Javon Carter, just play them a couple minutes a game. They don't need to play a whole game now like Grayson has been. And then their big man rotation, I mean, you could put the Bucks bigs up with anyone in the league. I think Giannis, Brooke, and Bobby, and maybe Jay. Maybe you consider Jay a big man. Maybe you consider him a wing. I kind of think of him as a wing, but he's a little bit of both in the modern NBA. But I think the trio of Giannis, Brooke, and Bobby has been arguably the strongest big man trio in the league this year. So I think I like them from all phases, and I think Crowder helps them. Just gives them a little more defensive perimeter and interior defensive capability. So I like the deal, and good shooting. I mean, they're always looking for good shooters. So
I think one of you guys mentioned just toolbox, and Crowder is the hammer that the Bucks needed off the bench or in a pinch for start. So he just brings a little bit of muscle to the team. Veteran leadership. So it's a good move. It's whatever paying that many second round draft picks. I don't think we care about that.
The Bucks do not, obviously.
Drake mentioned Bones Highland moving from the Nuggets to the Clippers. Did you want to touch on that since you are a resident Bones Highland fan club leader?
Yeah. Bones plays hard. He started out as like a defensive guy and he started shooting this year. I don't know. Didn't fit with the Nuggets, I guess. It was like there's actually some internal stuff that really is why he was benched. So who's on to the Clippers, and Clippers add another defensive player that can shoot the ball. So,
dude, I just remember the one Bucks Nuggets game we went to together last year.
Yeah,
and Bones Highland was the reason that it was not close.
Yeah, it was like a 31-point game, and Bones was just going off, and you and I kept talking what is going on? Bones Highland?
Bones Highland, yeah, you couldn't make that name up.
And Giannis played that game.
Yeah, there was nothing they could do. He was just hitting shots left and right. Looks like we got Atlanta Hawks, a little bit of Mr. Garrison Matthews, Bruno Fernando, Justin Holiday. Frank the Tank. We'll shout out Frank the Tank. We won't cover this one, but we'll just shout out Frank from Wisconsin.
Have we got him to come any traction? We got to get him on the show.
Probably maybe John can
Frank Kaminsky, we're the only
I'll
ones
get him.
talking
I'll get
about
him.
you tonight.
I'll get him.
just send out.
Trade deadline, we're the only people talking about you.
This
We
one's
appreciate
interesting.
the Frank trades.
When I saw this one come across the line, 3-team deal between Warriors, Pistons, and Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks getting Sadiq the Freak. Pistons get James Wiseman, and the Warriors get Kevin Knox and 5 second-round picks. Not sure why. I mean, I guess the Warriors are just getting what they can for it before it's too late, maybe.
Well, the Warriors use that for Gary Payton.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's the next one.
Yeah.
But very interesting. I think we're all big fans of Sadiq Bey. Now he's on Atlanta. John, what does this do for the Atlanta Hawks, who are middle of the play-in tournament right now?
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if it helps them too much. I mean, they have so many guys who play that. Sadiq, I kind of think plays more of like the shooting guard, small forward, wing positions, right? And so they have DeJounte Murray who plays there a lot. They have Bojan Bogdanovic who plays there a lot. They have AJ Griffin who plays there a lot. They have DeAndre Hunter who plays a little more 3 and 4, but still plays some of that position. It's like, when is this new guy Sadiq Bey going to get into the mix? I feel like they already kind of have rotation for that position. So while I think Bey has had good games and has shown he's been a good player, and definitely belongs in the NBA, I don't know if if he benefits any roster he joins. I just don't necessarily. He's not a position of need for the Hawks, so I don't know if he helps them all that much.
I think this only made sense if Collins was moved, and maybe we find out that failed.
Sure. So maybe they were
this
trying
trade
to.
made sense, and that's why I kept saying, I was like, all right, Collins is getting moved. Like, you're not gonna acquire Bey and keep Collins. Hunter.
Does Bey play the 4? Like, does Bey play?
He
power
plays
forward?
he'll play like 2 through 4, but
Okay.
he was also on the Pistons. Yeah,
He's 3 and 4 eligible.
Yeah, so he is eligible for the 4.
Yeah,
he's a 4.
outstanding
He's a
player.
4. Yep, he's a 4.
It doesn't make any sense where he fits on this team anymore. Like,
I think that's a good theory, though. They
were trying to move Collins.
They were trying to move Collins and couldn't, and they had they just had one deal go through and one deal not.
Like, even Onikwa,
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Played good. Onikwa played good, and then they acquired Bruno.
So is this something that gets addressed after the playoffs next offseason? Collins, maybe they want to build around Bey.
Yeah, but this team right now has so much talent, is an absolute mess.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
There's nothing that makes sense with this team.
It's going to be interesting.
Collins, Capella, and Bogdanovic all feel like they're on the chopping block, or like the trading block. Maybe not necessarily like they're not going to get cut, but like traded. And I think Wiseman. I think I heard somebody. I'm not sure how official it was, but I heard somebody on the Twitters say Wiseman's going to start for the Pistons because obviously the Pistons are tanking. Wiseman basically just got traded for one of the big lottery picks. The Warriors were super excited to draft Wiseman 2nd overall in a draft not too long ago, and he just got traded for 5 second-rounders. So he feels like his value.
He got traded for Gary Payton Jr.
Yeah, he got traded for Gary Payton Jr. So it feels like his value has tanked pretty significantly.
But they got
that does affect the Pistons fantasy players a lot because
Pistons. Yeah, I mean, Wiseman. If Wiseman plays, he could be an interesting ad.
Yeah, like it affects a lot of guys. And Bojan wasn't moved, which was the weirdest thing too. Like,
that was
weird. These teams were on like Zoom meetings or something and weren't really catching up on the trades because there's a lot of guys that should have been moved, right?
Could Bojan get bought out?
You can, but why would they? I mean,
why would they? I don't know.
Just paying him
to tank better, basically, but they're already losing.
Your own team can't buy out. Like, buyouts happen after trades.
Yeah, after.
But he's under contract with the Pistons.
Yeah. Well, it's messy.
And Diallo has played good. Like, Diallo's a fun piece.
And Burks has been playing well.
Corey Joseph is on this team, which is weird as.
It's a better.
How's Ivy been?
Ivy's been solid.
Yeah, I liked Ivy coming out, but I think the Pistons made some good moves, but they make confusing. Like I told you guys earlier today, it's like Pistons found a high upside big guy.
Yeah.
They're gonna grab him. Like they're looking for the next Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace combo.
Sure.
It's not gonna happen.
And we'll see what happens with it. But let's move on real quick. Again, we kind of talked about Mo Bamba. Patrick Beverley, I believe, is going to get bought out by the Magic.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that could potentially sign with someone like the Suns or something like that. We'll see what happens there. The Grizzlies, this one's interesting a little bit, maybe for fantasy. Eric Gordon going to the Clippers. We like what the Clippers did. The Clippers didn't make anything flashy moves, but they did get a little bit better today, I think. Maybe we should pull up the Clippers roster since we've been kind of hammering on some of the West teams. And let's see, is this a team that can move up and stay out of the play-in tournament?
This team can win a championship.
So they added Bones Highland, Eric Gordon,
Plumlee.
Who?
Mason Plumlee.
Yeah.
Oh, Plumlee. Yeah, sorry, I knew I was missing one. Yeah. I mean, they added a little bit of help to every layer of the point guard, shooting guard, wing, and then center. They added a little bit of everything to the roster. They are really missing a point guard. I also think there's a chance. I mean, it feels like Russell Westbrook is definitely going to the Clippers. So. I don't know. This team is interesting on paper. They have an incredible amount of talent. They might be the most talented team in the league if you take, you look at all of their good players. They have 8 really good players, which is I don't know if anyone else in the league can say that. Maybe not really good, but good. And yeah, I think Eric Gordon helps a lot. Bones Highland helps a lot, and Plumlee. I don't know. He's been having maybe a career year for him. Zubac is also having a career year, but it's like
Covington's a nice piece.
They're just adding players who are playing good basketball or have played good basketball in the past. So I like it a lot. Clippers have added a lot.
Mm-hmm. Really, Drake, anything to add on these moves?
No, I think that's spot on.
I'm just frustrated because I own Eric Gordon and Mason Plumlee, and now they're kind of just thrown into probably a messy minute situation on the Clippers. So a little bit frustrated on that. Somewhat interesting, Josh Richardson going to the Pelicans and Devontae Graham. We kind of were talking about him, I think, not too long ago on last week's show, maybe, about Graham getting moved, but he finds a home with San Antonio. Not sure if it means anything. Maybe for fantasy, these guys get a little bit of a boost. Who knows? Anything on this, guys?
I think Richardson, the Pelicans are a team that are competing already. So Richardson is a guy who, when you're competing, that's a guy you try to add. So I think, I think the Pelicans really want to be as loud as they can in the playoffs this year. Richardson, maybe not necessarily going to do much from a fantasy perspective because there's a lot of bodies on that roster now when that's healthy. I think he could be a good addition from a basketball perspective.
Pelicans have really fallen.
Yeah,
they've been injured. I mean, Bai's been out, and then Zion was out, so they've been going through a little bug here. And I think teams kind of figured him out a little too. They came out hot, but
they get a fresh start in a couple weeks. So
yeah, they're gonna be just fine. I mean, this roster is like John was hitting on. I love this roster. It's fun.
Yeah.
Even if they are a first round knockout, it's gonna go it's gonna go the distance.
If they're fully healthy, they're a really tough out, which is true of a lot of teams, to be fair. So
it
Zion
is, but
I
mean, they don't have that. They don't have LeBron. They don't have that guy. They have a lot of guys. They have a lot of guys that are maybe more next level than other people's guys, but
this roster looks good without Zion.
Yeah.
So like it's.
But you haven't seen any of these guys take over a game.
Sure.
Like DJ McCollum was Robin. Brandon Ingram was having a lot of fun when he was the only guy. Zion, his health is an issue, and then you have Valanciunas. This is a team set up for success. Larry Nance Jr. is great. Jackson Hayes, when he's not getting tased, is good.
You were just giving the Nets a lot of flowers for being, having a lot of,
They-
solid players. And
But I don't think the Nets are winning a championship.
No.
But I think the Pelicans are trying to build that right now.
Absolutely. But I think like it's
not
kind of
there.
similar. It's just like there's levels to it. Like
Yeah,
the
there's levels.
Pelicans-
I think the Pelicans are a higher level than the Nets players.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Not even a question.
McCollum's a baller. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Brandon Ingram's
McCollum,
a
Brandon
baller.
Ingram,
They have
and Zion, while they maybe don't have like an MVP candidate in that group, that's a pretty powerful trio. There's not a lot of trios in the league that are better than that.
and they have depth. Like they have a good team.
Yes.
So I think any team they play in the playoffs, they're taking them deep.
Yeah.
Whether it's first or second round, they don't have that guys that going to take over.
I want them. That's the team I want to be. I want to see healthy more than any other team besides the team I root
All
for.
them together.
Pelicans. I just want to see what those guys can do because I think it's a good team.
What's the Zion injury? How long is he out?
Basically, once the All-Star break is over, I bet you'll see him on the court.
Okay.
He was supposed to return. He had a chance to return, like next week. But I think they're just being a little extra cautious.
He's getting a massage.
He'll be back by March.
Yeah.
But that's it, dudes. We're on the hour for this show. We covered all the trades. We went through the entire list. I think next week, do you guys want to do some mid-season awards?
Yeah, let's do some mid-season awards.
We'll get into some mid-season awards. John, did you have any final thoughts here on the NBA trade deadline, or what are you looking forward to going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime the landscape of the league changes, you got to be excited to see what the hell comes from it. And I think the Durant trade, certainly the biggest thing, but you have, truly 4 or 5 teams out west, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Mavericks, and the Suns are the ones that come to mind the most significantly. Sorry if I'm missing someone, but you have 4 teams in a single conference who have significantly elevated themselves with the assets they've added at the deadline or around the deadline. This is one of the things that makes the NBA really fun. It doesn't necessarily happen this big every year, but what a treat for us all. And I think the Western Conference is going to be really crazy. I think the entire conference has elevated itself, and that's only good for, entertainment of the sport.
100%. Drake, any final thoughts for you?
I'm just sitting here thinking about Kevin Durant in a Suns jersey shooting jumpers over people in the playoffs. And it's frightening. I want none of it. I don't know how you like.
I'm just glad he's in the West.
We've had super teams. We've had things like that. I don't know how you stop the Suns.
Yeah, I'm thankful he's in the West now. I'm thankful that none of our Bucks and Cavs aren't in the West.
You know what I hope? You know what I hope for? My dream is for a second round Bucks versus Cavs.
Okay, that's doable. It's on the menu.
We can have some fun.
But yeah, guys, this was a lot of fun. I think we covered all the trades. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this show. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, like the video, all that good stuff. We'll be back next Tuesday or Thursday. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. We'll come back with our mid-season awards. And yeah, thank you guys for your time. Have a good rest of your evening. Peace.